Okay, there are programs coming around for everyone. Thank you, Nama, for handing them out. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. Thank you all for coming this morning. If anyone wants to be a little bit closer, you're welcome to come around and stand here with John if you have trouble hearing me, for example. Or come around this way as well. We're just trying not to stand immediately here. So just watch your step, okay? And then we can move in so you're a little bit closer together. Here, so come on over here. Just what's up there. So we're here gathered to celebrate the life of Judy Coblin, beloved sister, aunt, great aunt, friend. Judy was an incredibly organized and detailed-oriented person. If you wanted a receipt from a book you bought 30 years ago or something, she could find it for you, no problem. But remembering a life is not as simple as recounting every item you purchased at the grocery store or categorizing all your household items. Judy lived a full life filled with her share of hardships and challenges, but also celebration and joy. Those who were by her side these past few years know how difficult they were for Judy. And they also know how much she cherished her relationships, her family especially. Today we'll call upon ancient Jewish traditions and we'll hear from loved ones in an effort to reflect on a life well lived and remember Judy's memory for a blessing. There's one song in particular that she requested be sung, which is Lechi Lach by Debbie Friedman. It's based on Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, when God tells Abraham to go out on this journey. Go forth to a life of blessing, as we hope Judy's memory will be for us an inspiration to live our lives for a blessing. So feel free to sing along. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach, Lechi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat Chaim, Lesimchat Chaim, Lesimchat Chaim, Lechi Lach, and you shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach. It's a beautiful song and a beautiful message for her to leave us.
She sang along when I was playing it a couple of days ago.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, in your packets or programs, there's a poem that I want to read together where it says, "When I die," on the bottom half of the first page there. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around others and give them what you need from me. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your joys, multiplying your good deeds. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes and not in your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember what our Torah teaches. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. I'll chant now the words of Psalm 23, and then afterwards, after I do it in the Hebrew, we can say the English there together. Adonai roi lo hechsar bin ot deshe yarbitzeni al mei menuchot yanaleini nafshi yeshovev Yancheni b'maglei tzedek, Yancheni b'maglei tzedek, leman shemo. Gam ki elech begeitz al mavet lo irara, ki ata imadi. Shiftecha u'mishantecha emay nachamuni. Taroch lefanai shulchan צורריי, דשנתה ושמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירפוני כל ימי חיי, כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. אדוני רואי לא אחסר, אדוני רואי לא אחסר. Let's read Psalm 23 in the English together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me to lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters. God restores my soul. God leads me to the paths of righteousness for the sake of God's name. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So we have a few speakers who have agreed to share today. A few words about Judy. We'll start with Jay.
I've known Judy my whole life. We weren't that close when we were younger, as Mark and I were closer in age, but as we grew up, we became closer and closer. I don't know what I would have done without my big sister. She was a great source of information, and I could get solid advice from her on almost any topic. She wouldn't hesitate to psychoanalyze later in life either. Like, what do you hope to accomplish by saying that? It was a blessing because she was always had good ideas. Judy inherited the Clark sense of humor more than I, sometimes naughty, sometimes mischievous. I love it when she injects her one-liners into the conversation and gets us laughing. Even in her last days, this trait was obvious. Recently, we installed a hospital bed in Judy's house to help with her care. On the first day, the paramedics were moving it away from the wall a bit so the aides could assist better, and one of the leg guards fell off. The mobility provider came to fix it a day or so later, and while they were talking about it needing a screw on the leg, Judy's response was, "That's the only screwing that's going to be done in this bed." Another memory I have is the three of us were playing baseball in the unfinished basement of our first house. I was the pitcher, Judy the batter, and Mark the back catcher. By accident, when she swung the bat, it hit Mark in the head. Her remark was, "Don't cry, Mom and Dad will find out." Turns out there ended up being a big puddle on the floor, and he had to get 5 stitches.
Oh gosh.
And when they were playing Monopoly, I wasn't allowed to play. They said I had to learn to count first. It's not in here, but I want you to know that Judy, my parents are right across the street in the other cemetery, and she once commented, it'll be the closest we've ever lived together, you know? Judy loved family, traveling, her garden, actually any gardens. She loved going to the symphony, and she loved canning pickles, fruit, and jam. She often donated her time for various causes and also donated annually to a variety of charities. Near the end of the year, she would consciously search for a likely cause to donate to, whether it be cancer or adopt a school or various Jewish services or other important causes. Based on her and David's wishes, she's leaving part of a legacy to Temple Sholom, Jewish Family Services, the Knowledge Network, and the Vancouver Symphony Foundation. As I said before, I don't know what I would have done without my sister, and I'm seriously not looking forward to what it'll look like without her. I know what she has taught me will never be forgotten and will assist me in carrying on without her.
Okay. Jordan? That's going to fall apparently. That's sinking is okay as long as it's.
So Judy was my grandma, my baba. Just thinking what I want to say. I have some stuff written, but yeah, I guess most people would know that she had a bit of a rough time the last 10 years since my grandpa David died. But I think she found a lot of reason to live and a lot of joy in that time, and it was really in those years that I feel like our relationship became closer and that we really got to know each other. So I wrote some words. I called it Things That My Bubba Taught Me. So Bubba, you taught me that the farewell, see you later alligator should always be responded to with, in a while crocodile. You taught me that the best kinds of cakes have loonies and toonies hidden inside, and that being the only grandchild around meant that everyone would donate their loonies and toonies to me. You taught me that a cheerful presence can enrich the lives of others as well as your own. You taught me that pen and paper is, in fact, the best way to store many terabytes of information. And those that have ever seen her endless file systems would know that. You taught me the pleasures of a sharp wit and the art of sarcasm. You taught me that a warm smile is a true act of generosity. You taught me that I'm okay just as I am. I don't need to prove my worth through my accomplishments or through sacrificing myself to my work. You taught me what kind of man my grandfather was and how his qualities positively impacted your life and your outlook. You taught me that family need not be related through blood, and that family members can also become trusted friends. And finally, you taught me that even when life feels like an endless crashing of waves, it is still possible to find joy, meaning, and reason to live. I love you, Bubba, and I will miss you.
I first met Judy when she came to our house for dinner with her then husband, Jerry, and some friends. My first impression, what a wicked sense of humor. She had us in stitches describing her relationship with her mother-in-law. Her quick wit was one of her most endearing and enduring qualities. Flash forward a few years. We were invited to a family reunion of all the descendants of my great-grandparents, who had produced 12 offspring. This was familiar territory for me, for I had grown up where most of those people were located. As we were registering, I said to Ken, that looks like Judy Grossman over there coming towards us. And sure enough, it was Judy. She, her mother Arlie, sister Gay, and baby Brian, all of them offspring of one of my grandmother's oldest brothers, had been contacted, and with no real knowledge of other parts of the family, decided to make the trek to see what this was all about. And thus, we reconnected with Judy and her family, our newfound cousins. Judy was now single, as was Ken's brother David. We had introduced David to several women with no luck. We told him that this was the last chance. We invited them both to Passover dinner. Shane and Lena and the kids are out of town and couldn't make it back in time for the funeral, but Shane wrote something that he wanted us to read. So Shane will pick up the saga here as read by Ken.
So, this is from Shane. I'm heartbroken that we were not there with you to say goodbye in person. The unexpected timing of your passing made this incredibly hard for Elena and I and the kids. We all have nothing but amazing memories of you, Judy, as one of the Coblin's greatest champions. When I think about influential people in my life, two of the biggest, both in height and personality, were Uncle Dave and Auntie Judy. They were truly larger than life. I will never forget the first day Judy entered my life. It was Passover, dinner 1984. My parents were hosting. I must have been 8 and Ryan was 12. It was shaping up to be a pretty uneventful and boring night for a couple of kids who were only in it for the afikomen. But then in walked a tall, beautiful woman with a fur-collared coat and bright red lipstick. This was Judy. And I'll never forget that moment because I went straight up to her and I asked her if I could pet her coat. And with that big, loud laugh I would get to know so well, she bent down and said, "Of course." Uncle Dave must have already been there then, but I can't recall. His entrance clearly wasn't anywhere near as impressive. What I do recall is that the attraction between the two of them was magnetic, instantaneous, because the moment I lost interest in the coat, he was there. He was with her before dinner, he was there during dinner, he was there with her after dinner, and they were both with us well after we wished they had gone home so we could go to bed. They were the last two to leave that night. Ryan and I were having a great time watching them. We could tell right away that they liked each other. Uncle Dave was doing things that we knew he didn't like to do, just to impress Judy. The funniest thing, or at least we thought it was funny at the time, was smoking. Uncle Dave wasn't a smoker as far as I knew, but Judy was. And all of a sudden, that night, Uncle Dave was too. Another funny thing, no one had ever smoked in our house. I mean, ever. But as the two of them stood in the kitchen, deeply engaged in conversation, Judy reached into her purse, pulled out a pack of cigarettes. Uncle Dave gladly accepted one, and one out of the blue, Mom whisked in from the other room without saying a word and slid an ashtray between them and was out of the room as quickly as she had entered. Ryan and I looked at each other in disbelief from our vantage point behind the couch in the other room and whispered, "I didn't even know we had an ashtray." Mom's crazy. I don't think I ever saw them apart after that night. I'm sure it didn't happen exactly like that, but I don't have any memories of Uncle Dave after that. I only have memories of Uncle Dave and Auntie Judy. I learned 3 things that night. I learned what a yenta was, and my mom was clearly played the role beautifully. And I learned what a shidduch was. I can't imagine one that could have worked out better. And he says, except for me and Elena. And I learned what it looked like when you find your besheret. That evening turned out to be the best Passover that Ryan and I spent together. And though I didn't know it at the time, it would be one of the last we ever had together. And Uncle Dave and Auntie Judy made it a special memory. I've always been close with Uncle Dave and Auntie Judy, and they've been just as important and influential in the lives of Mason, Jacob, and Silas as they were in my life. Uncle Dave was the first person to call Elaine and I in the hospital when we had Mason, and Judy was right there in the background telling him, 6 a.m.'s too early to call. They never missed a family event involving the kids. And though Auntie Judy hasn't been well or mobile over the past few years, she never missed a birthday or a special event and always sent a message or an e-transfer letting us know how much she cared. Uncle Dave and Auntie Judy were always the 2 biggest personalities in any room, and hands down the 2 biggest personalities in my life. There's an emptiness in the room now, and no matter how hard we try, nothing will ever fill it quite the same way. The kids will miss you very much. I will miss you very much. We will all miss you very much. We love you, Auntie Judy.
Thank you all for those beautiful words. As we've heard, Judy had a great sense of humor. She was giving and honest. She was meticulous, fierce, and incredibly smart. She was a successful businesswoman. She was intuitive, well-respected. Perhaps most of all, Judy loved her family. She loved her husband, David, Zichrono Livracha, and was especially fond of the grandchildren in the family. The kids gave her a reason to keep going, especially in her final years when her health started declining. She loved buying books like the National Geographic subscription and loved reading them The Wonky Donkey, or so I heard. Judaism was also a core part of Judy's identity. She remained committed her whole life to living a Jewish life. She volunteered with the National Council of Jewish Women. She joined Temple Sholom back in 1984, I believe. David was the love of Judy's life. The two of them had a wonderful life together. They loved music. They traveled all over the world. And Judy always made sure to pack the essentials, light bulbs and Charmin toilet paper from home, as you do. It's always hard to lose someone you love, but I think this is a particularly auspicious time for Judy to go. She died on the first night of Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. When a close family member dies, it is Jewish tradition to light a yahrzeit candle to honor their memory. How beautiful that on Wednesday night we were lighting the Hanukkah candles. Just as those candles bring light into our homes, Judy brought her own light and joy into our lives through her generosity, her humor, her love. From here on out, Judy's yahrzeit falls in this festive season, and we will kindle the Hanukkah lights in the darkness of winter and remember her memory for a blessing. I'll continue with the El Maleh Rachamim prayer now, where we think of the soul being released from this earth. And then we will proceed over here. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamtzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kadoshim Uteorim, Kezohar Harakia Mazirim, Et Nishmat Yehudit Bat Avram Sara, Shehalcha Leolama, Bal Harachamim, Harachamim, Yastireha Beseter Knafav Leolamim, Veitzror Vitzror Achaim Et Nishmata, Adonai Unachalata, V'tanuach Beshalom Al Mishkava, V'nomar Amen. May the source of life, the fountain of all being, open our hearts to compassion and our eyes to wisdom, that we might glimpse in perfect peace and sadness the way of all things. May Judy's memory be for us a blessing, and may we never let the light of her love grow dim in our hearts. May we remember all her worthy and righteous deeds, that her memory be forever bound up in the bond of life. God is our source and our destination, our beginning and our end. May Judy's death awaken us to this truth, that the bond of love we shared and share not be severed in sorrow. May she rest in peace. We say, Amen. So we'll move now to lower the casket, and then I'll instruct us on shoveling after. Shalom Imrama, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru, Amen. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Imru, Amen. So before we'll together fill the grave, we'll recite the mourner's Kaddish, which you'll find on your program here. May the love and eternal connection of our souls give us strength as we turn to recite these words hallowed by time, sanctifying the name of God. We honor the memory of Judy with the words of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash mei rava, ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'byomechon u'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kariv ve'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rava mevorach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitfomam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'halal shemei d'kudsha v'rikhu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran ve'alma ve'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei teva. Amen. Al Mekoma Tavo v'Shalom. May Judy come to her eternal home in peace. In Jewish tradition, to shovel dirt into the grave is a mitzvah, a righteous act which we do without any hope of reward. With this act, we take on the responsibility of caring for our loved one until the very end. Our loved ones deserve to be buried by kind hands, knowing hands, sorrowful hands. So we'll start with family, and then everyone will be invited to participate in this mitzvah. It is a painful act, but one born of love and compassion for those who have meant so much to us. So we'll start with the back of the shovel to show our lack of willingness to want to do this, but we do it. And then you put the shovel back in the dirt pile as opposed to handing it to the next person as well. Okay.
You go first so I can watch into it right.
Watch your step.
Oh, I guess everybody can do this.
No, there's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Oh, that's what
So
you
you
mean.
use the back. Exactly. Yeah. There's. So now I'll invite everyone to, you can line up here, everyone who's willing to participate in this act as well. And we'll continue until it's completely covered.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah, all here to support each other.
Oh, we don't have to do the whole program.
If I could have everyone's attention for just one more moment. First of all, thank you again, everyone, for joining us this morning. We will have a reception at Temple Sholom immediately following this, whenever we get back there around noon. And then there'll be a Shiva gathering at Shane and Elena's, right? Shane and Elena's. More information in the email and on your programs. That will be on January 1st, which I believe is Wednesday evening at 7:30. It's East 22nd, not East 2nd, the address. Okay. So as we head out today, there's a traditional sentence that we say, which you can repeat after me, and you say it to the mourners as well as you can say it as a mourner. Hamakom yenachem etchem betoch sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim, which means may God comfort you among all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. May you go in peace, and may Judy's memory be for a blessing. And perhaps we will see you at Temple Sholom for the reception or at the Minyan. Thank you, everyone.
One more mention.
Okay, one more mention from Tim. Yes, East 22nd is the address. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
If there's anyone that's not coming to the luncheon,